Ever since World at War, Call of Duty Zombies has been played from the character's point of view. That was until Modern Warfare 3 Zombies enabled playing from a third-person viewpoint, and so now, for the first time ever in proper round-based zombies, Treyarch have added the ability to play from a third-person perspective. Something I haven't really heard many people talk about, even though it's a pretty big deal, because it seriously changes the game drastically. So in this video, I attempted to reach round 100 and beat the entire Easter egg on both launch maps, whilst the entire time playing from this perspective, to really see just how different the game plays and feels. Also, I want to add here that although first person is more immersive in video games, third person for me always visually enhances the game in terms of its atmosphere, which I certainly felt at times in this game. I feel more attachment to the character I'm playing because I can see them, where in first person I feel like I am them, if that makes any sense. But why did they add this addition into Zombies? Well, personally, I think it's likely because of the large amount of buyable customization inside the game, they want to make more money, and also because of Omni movement, which actually looks very cool from this perspective. Also, I feel like you can actually get better at Omni movement by playing in the third person, because you can kind of see what you're doing, and I definitely felt like I got better during this whole process. So I started with Liberty Falls and immediately noticed that Treyarch definitely intended for us to use this perspective if we prefer it to the original, as you literally spawn into the map in third person if you were using this perspective when your previous game ended. The immediate obvious benefits I noticed was that you have a larger field of view and can even see around walls, and also you can see what's hitting you from behind. Like for example, if it's multiple zombies and like if you should really be careful or not. Also, guns with terrible recoil and scopes are way easier to control in this view. Choosing an operator when in third person is a lot more important because it definitely encourages personalization. Also, the field upgrades look really cool from this point of view. At round 11 here, the chalk turned blue, so I bought my Akimbo GS45 class and pack-a-punched it. Bright camos also look pretty cool from this perspective. I then grabbed a bunch of perks, dolphin diving to collect the points and to not have to drink out of the can. And now, as I'm ridiculously overpowered at round 16, I just had a lot of fun, as this game is just incredibly satisfying, especially I find when in third person. I finish off the water pressure and like a boss destroy this gate. I know this is small and nerdy, but it's just cool to see the Mangler's arm on top of ours, just like in Iron Man or something. I pack-a-punched again, killed the groundskeeper and built the jet gun, which honestly looks ridiculous from this perspective, though very cool at the same time. It also makes a lot of sense why you run so much slower with the wonder weapon out. I can now just camp by this rail with the door behind me closed to get heaps of points, to then pack-a-punch the jet gun all 3 times in a weirdly satisfying and trippy endeavor, especially because the colors are so damn saturated on this game. And now, this was my first proper look at the jet gun in this perspective, and again, it was quite satisfying, almost like the lawnmower from Infinite Warfare Zombies. Also, the mutant injection is from the third person too, so we can still use that, though for the boss fight, I tried not to use it at all because it's pretty damn broken. And so to reach 100, I just used the jet gun down here by tapping it every half a second to maintain its ammo. Also, if I got an insta-kill, I just had a lot of fun. If multiple mutant injections spawned on the map, I would just abuse the Mangler form, and so with the jet gun and mutant injections, I got to round 100 very easy. Oh, and also I used Frenzy Guard early on to speed up the rounds, and Ether Shroud in the high rounds to play the map safer. Also, here are the augments I used in this video. But with all this out of the way, our first step is to go to the church and actually initiate the Easter egg. Straight away, I sucked in the first part to the LTG, which looks dope inside the ether here. Then I bought some armor, as without it, running around at 100 is basically impossible. I then sucked in my second part for building the LTG from the top of this van, and the third part from inside of the quick revive room. I then built the device, but unfortunately, as I tried to grab an ether canister from the church, I had to use my ether shroud, which I swear looks even brighter in the ether, but I didn't really use it very smartly and instead just trapped myself in this room to basically instantly die. Again, this game is really hard, but also weirdly easy. Like it's so weird like that. Fortunately, I died right by armor and also the zipline, which is super overpowered for getting all my perks back with plenty of time. I could then camp up here and suck through most of the round until finally I got a self-revive kit and then decided to get monkeys for my next step. However, I'm dumb and forgot where the little monkey symbol was, so I ended up going down again. Unfortunately, like I said, perks are so easy to get back once you've been downed. And now finally, I grabbed the ether canister. Another cool thing about this point of view is you get a whole new perspective of the Easter egg, which is really cool. So with this canister on my back, I threw monkey bombs when in danger because you can't sprint with the canister. I then dropped it off at this trap. After going down twice already, I wasn't feeling a lot of confidence at this moment, but fortunately I got a nuke and was able to compose myself for a moment, turn on the LTG, finish the timed mission, and then I turn on the trap and use a mutant injection to take care of this slightly stronger boss. Again, though, I didn't want to use the injection in the boss fight, but I wanted to make sure I got to the boss fight. I then used the monkey bomb strategy to make my way back to the church to deliver the canister. I went down again in pretty much the same spot as the first time, so I'm starting to run out of lives here. Now, this was the first time I actually couldn't stop the game from going into first person mode. When momentarily using the Strauss counter, the game just changes your perspective so you could actually see the color of the counter, which I didn't know. But nonetheless, I don't think it matters too much. Hopefully you guys don't mind. So I changed the colors, which sparked a reaction to grab my second canister. I then did the exact same thing I did for the first canister, abusing the monkeys and the mutant injection, and now I was able to enter the boss fight. And like I said, because the mutant injection is so overpowered, I didn't use it the entire boss fight. Which, although was very easy at the beginning, soon became quite intense. The first wave of zombies was, like I said, very easy, but the second became harder as the special Mangler was resistant to the jet gun's slowing effect, and so I used Ether Shroud, which I wasn't sure was going to do much damage, but it ended up being very strong. I should mention I did fully Pack-a-Punch and upgrade my knife because of the Ether Shroud augment, but now I have to face the Abomination boss, and the Ether Shroud isn't too good on this guy. And so this is where I really began to play with the game's Omni movement, and in general its different style of gameplay. The jet gun is a pretty weird weapon when you're moving, so I'm glad Treyarch also made these pistols explosive, because without them I really wouldn't have been able to do any damage to the boss. So basically, near the edge of death, almost constantly, I kept moving and shooting until I got trapped and then somehow survived and finally abolished the Abomination and beat the Easter egg at round 100, making it my first time in Zombies to both reach and beat an Easter egg in third person. It was really fun, and I swear my movement is better when playing in this perspective. Also, the match time is wrong because I saved my game. Terminus. Now, I really enjoyed playing this game because of the official KHF, who's currently on round 618 as I say this. He showed me a strategy to use the Beam Smasher, which is a very, very fun wonder weapon once you learn how to use it. Another thing I was really looking forward to in this game was the boss fight at round 100. So I did change up my operator again, as like I said, a big advantage of this point of view is you get to see your character. So to start off with, I used the Rampage Inducer and started the first generator. After the last game, I was feeling really good and confident here, and so I really tried to speed through these early rounds. I did grab Quick Revive and Stamina up straight away, which is pretty crazy considering we haven't even opened a door yet. I grabbed the pistols, which unfortunately hadn't turned blue yet, got the Pack-a-Punch open and packed my pistols, and with it opened this door. I then did all these steps and built the Beam Smasher, and now the fun really begins. I really like this wonder weapon, like I said, and I do say this quite often, but I would love to use this wonder weapon on one of the older Call of Duty games and just see what it'd be like. So with the wonder weapon, I just camped in the first room's elevator, from which the round ends ridiculously quick. At round 25 plus, I also got the rest of my perks from on top of the boat here and changed my field upgrade to Ether Shroud, which is generally the rule of thumb for me. Frenzy Guard early on and Ether Shroud in the high rounds. I also got into this weird spot on accident here where the zombies eventually began to throw their meat at me, so not actually a glitch spot. Also, I do want to add how crazy it is how you can be cornered on a boat and then simply jump off the boat to your safety. Another thing I don't think was really possible in any other COD game ever, not counting Modern Warfare 3 probably, but I've actually never ever played that game, which is kind of crazy. Sorry, I mean I haven't played the Zombies, which is also kind of crazy. So because you save so much salvage during the strategy, I did drain a lot of it using mutant injections down inside this room. I just spam fired this window and slashed at the zombies that spawned from the little hole beside me. These rounds were ridiculously quick. This must be the fastest strategy in all of Zombies, in Black Ops 6, I mean. But it might not be, because at the end of the round, you still have to finish off all the Manglers that spawned in and were making their way slowly towards you. That's how fast the strategy is. The Manglers can't even get to you before the round ends. It's actually ridiculous how many of these can spawn in each round, as we all know, and I just love how effective this wonder weapon is at putting them in their place. So as you can see, even in the high rounds, this strategy works wonders. So now you don't have to rely on mutant injections, and the game has a bit more skill because although this strategy is possible, it's not like ridiculously easy. It's easy, but it's not, you can mess it up. And so I reached 100, and now it's time to start the Easter egg, which I guess I already started by building the Beam Smasher, as you need to shoot down a hard drive from one of these tentacle traps. This was pretty damn sketchy to do at the start of round 100, and honestly, I kind of lost the hard drive and was confused why I couldn't find it, and eventually this got me stuck, and I had to use a mutant injection as last resort. This pretty much ended the round, but for one mangler, which made finding the hard drive easy, and also looking at the 3 numbers around the map a bit more peaceful, as it's a bit hard to see the card number from this perspective. I then released my character's brother, who turns into an amalgamation, who honestly I killed pretty easily. It seems like these lockdowns don't really change much in difficulty depending on the round. I especially noticed this when entering my next lockdown, as all the zombies were a one-shot kill. But this isn't the case for the boss fight, as you will see in a second. So I easily repaired these connectors around the map and hacked the boys. Again, these steps were very easy even on these high rounds, I suppose because zombies can't attack you when you're in the ocean. But even defusing these 3 bombs was very easy as well, because I had no choice but to use Ether Shroud and Monkey Bombs, otherwise I'd 100% go down. So it's like, if I don't use them, the game's over, but if I use them, it's ridiculously easy. So I had to choose to use them. I then decided to switch to Frenzied Guard for the boss fight. I don't know why, I just thought I could get more damage on the boss whilst I was in motion, whilst with Ether Shroud I wouldn't be able to damage the boss. So when I switched to it, I had to recharge it, and then I made sure I had 3 spare armor plates before going into this boss fight, because I nearly failed before round 20 on my first and only time playing and beating the boss fight. And so once set up, I hopped in, and immediately I just thought it looked so cool seeing my character right in front of the massive monster. Like I said, this perspective sometimes gives you a greater appreciation of what you're actually doing. Well, actually what your character's doing and what you're trying to do for the character, I guess. So this boss fight was very, very intense. Genuinely some of the most fun I've ever had playing zombies in a long time. The strategy was pretty normal early on, just running back and forth, shooting his orange spots and trying not to get hit by his tentacles, or too much by these zombies either. Once it went down, I easily took out some of its tentacles, and then things started to get quite a lot harder. First of all though, once the monster spawned back up, I threw down a monkey right where its tentacles land, which resulted in it killing a whole wave of zombies for me. This stage of the boss fight was again very intense, but the strategy still hadn't changed, just things were more intense and honestly quite scary. Honestly, I probably should have gone down here. But things still got a lot worse. When the boss disappeared for a moment and I began to attack his tentacles, again he leaped back up, but in his final form, from which part of its body blocked me and I was very confused. It began charging its wipe attack and I was just hoping it wouldn't be able to damage me because I was behind it, but turns out I was very wrong. I ended up having probably the most brutal down I've ever had in zombies and having to swim back to the pier in an absolute panic as I thought I was going to die in the water. And it was here I actually gave in and used the mutant injection. But from behind it wasn't very effective and almost immediately its wipe attack actually destroyed my mangler, which I didn't know the mangler could be destroyed. I decided that maybe there was another ladder on the other side, and luckily there was, but still the boss's wipe attack is terrifying, and so I had to cram in again. I was so close to getting Frenzied Guard back, but the zombies proved too strong and I ended up going down. I tried to take the boss out whilst I was downed, like I did on my very first time, but he was too strong and I began panicking about ammo, because the only way I could revive myself here is by killing something, which luckily I managed. By the way, that is an augment of Quick Revive. I was about to get some ammo, but the boss started its wipe attack again, so it was very lucky that I had ammo in the Beam Smasher and was able to slow and kill these zombies, allowing me to collect some ammo back for the pistol and take out the massive boss in, like I said, one of the most enjoyable experiences I've had in zombies for a very long time. So overall, I think third person is such a cool addition to zombies, and honestly, I can see myself playing more in third person than in first person. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you haven't played third person, consider giving it a try.
Siempre pendientes, de aquí en delante es puro para enfrente. Mi pedo a veces escapa la liebre. Tengo mensajes, nada se pierde.